History of my oldest ancestors of whom I am very proud descend. July 31st, 1265, wedding day of Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim, my 24th grandfather, 5 times my grandfather, rich man of the Kingdom of Portugal, Lord of the Honour of Chacim, Major Domo of Dom Afonso III King of Portugal, AIO and Major Domo Mor of Dom Dinis, King of Portugal and very private, Marinho Mor of the Kingdom of Portugal, Governor of Bragança, Adiantada Mor of Entra de Ro e Minho, and bearer, with Dona Teresa Nunes Queixada, my 24th grandmother, 3 times my grandmother. On that same day, Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim receives the lordship of Chacim from his maternal uncle, Dom Fernão Fernandes Cogominho, his mother's half-brother, with the approval of King Dom Afonso III of Portugal. Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim, rich man of the Kingdom of Portugal, Lord of Honour of Chacim, Major Domo Major of Dom Afonso III King of Portugal, AIO and Major Domo Major of Dom Dinis, King of Portugal, and very private, Marinho Mor of the Kingdom of Portugal, Governor of Bragança, Adiantada Mor of Entra de Ro e Minho and bearer, born in 1218 and died in 1284. Was the son of Dom Martin Pires de Chacim, noble knight, Lord of Honour of Chacim and Dona Froil Nunes de Bragança, paternal grandson of Dom Pedro Martins, Senhor de Chacim and Dona Teresa Fernandes Camelo, and maternal grandson of Dom Nuno Pires de Bragança and Dona Maria Fagaca, daughter of Dom Fernão Gages and Dona Maia Martins de Alvalo. Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim was a rich man and AIO of King Dom Dinis of Portugal. He held the lieutenantship of Bragança between 1265 and 1284. He was knighted in 1237 by Dom Fernão Garcia de Bragança. Between 1261 and 1276, he held the position of Marinho Mor, and between 1279 and 1284 he was Major Domo Major of the House of Dom Afonso III of Portugal. He was lord and owner of a large part of the land of Valdres, as well as the men of Lampacas, current Quintila de Lampacas. The general inquiries ordered in 1258 by King Dom Afonso III of Portugal informed that the parish church of Santa Marta was owned, on Tuesdays, by the Archbishop of Braga, who represented the primatial see, by Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim and by Dom Afonso Mendes de Bornes. Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim and his tomb in the Castro de Ravelas monastery. In the magnificent thesis by Professor Dr. Mario Jorge Barroca, entitled, The Tomb of Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim in the Monastery of Castro de Ravelas, we can read. Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim was born around 1218. He was knighted by Dom Fernão Garcia de Bragança when this nobleman held the lieutenant of Bragança. Like his father, Martin Pires, Dom Nuno Martins adopted the toponym of his main honour as his surname, a typical mechanism of lineages that began in the second half of the 12th century or at the dawn of the 13th century. The process of social ascension, moving towards top of the social hierarchy, the formation of his vast heritage in the land of Bragança, of which little was inherited, took place in moments of favourable circumstances for the practice of usurpations and violence, especially in the most controversial phases of the reign of Dom Sancho II, from 1238 and, mainly, between 1245 and 1247, when the kingdom was ravaged by the civil war that preceded the overthrow of the monarch. The geographic coherence of the assets he took possession of, illicitly or not, concentrated mainly in the heart of the land of Bragança, can only be explained within the framework of the nobleman's effective stay in the place, effectively managing his assets and not leaving no suitable opportunity for a new acquisition escapes. We were, in fact, still a long way from Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim's stay at the royal court, when he did not yet hold office. At the time he was involved in these misdeeds, Nuno Martins was a nobleman with local influence, who had not even yet achieved the position of lieutenant in any castle. This same geographical coherence of his heritage, pursued over the years, gave him power at a local level that would make him unpunishable and helped him assert himself before the monarch. And, after gaining territorial power, he began his journey to the royal curia. In reality, Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim appears in the court of Dom Afonso 3 degrees from May 1258, and here he would occupy the position of Marinho Mor, at the same time as he assured the lieutenant of Bragança. It is possible that the chronological limits pointed out by Leontina Ventura for Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim's stay at the head of the Bragantina lieutenant, which we indicated, could be somewhat expanded. In reality, João Pedro Ribeiro published, in his Dissertations, a diploma dated February 7, 1285 where this nobleman still appears as Tenenza of Bragança and as Marinus. If so, we could advance the chronology of his stay at the head of the Lieutenant of Bragança and the position of Marinho Moor of the kingdom until the year 1285, reducing a little the chronological gap in which the death of this nobleman must be placed. Let us also highlight that Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim was Dom Dinas's AIO, appearing in this capacity in a document from 1278. In the Book of Lineages of Count Dom Pedro, he is mentioned as having been advance, i.e. Fronteiro Moor, of the monarch in Entra de Ro e Minho, and in Beira. This Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim, son of the aforementioned Martin Perez and Dona Froil, was a very honoured and deprived man of King Dom Dinis of Portugal and his predecessor in Anta Doiro and Minho and in Beira. Regarding the arms of Chacim that Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim used and are represented in his tomb, the Lusitanian armorial states as follows. The weapons of the Chacins are of ermines, with a red band loaded with 2 silver spears. Tambra, tabor of ermines, passing by. Family and descent. Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim married twice, but had children with other women. Children from his first marriage to Dona Sancha Pires Correa. Dona Marinha Nunes de Chacim, married to Dom Fernão Esteves Pintala. Dom Gomes Nunes. Dom Nuno Martins de Chacim married, in a second marriage on July 31, 1265, with Dona Teresa Nunes de Silva, my 24th grandmother, 3 times my grandmother, better known as Dona Teresa Nunes Queixada, daughter of Dom Nuno Mendes de Silva, the Queixada and Dona Sancha País de Alvarenga. On this same day, July 31, 1265, Dom Afonso III approved the sale of Chacim made by Fernando Fernandes Cogominho to his nephew Nuno Martins de Chacim Nuno Martini de Chacim. She to her father, who has this name, and was perhaps sold by him to his brother-in-law Fernando Fernandes Cogominho, by Manuel de Abranches de Sobral, in Rogilo.eu. Children from this second marriage to Dona Teresa Nunes Queixada, my 24th grandmother, 3 times my grandmother. Dom Hita Nunes de Chacim, married to Dona Marquesa Gil de Soberosa. Dom Alvaro Nunes de Chacim, married to an unknown lady. Dom Gil Nunes de Chacim, married to Dona Maria Martin Sote. Dom Sancho Nunes de Chacim, married to Dona Teresa Vosquez Sagomba. Dona Sancha Nunes de Chacim, married to Dom Lorenzo Soares de Valladolid, my 23rd grandparents, 3 times my grandparents. Dona Iraca Nunes de Chacim, married to Dom Martim Aints do Vinol. Dona Teresa Nunes de Chacim, married to Dom Fernão Pires Barbosa. Dom Pero Nunes de Baião, married, unknown lady. Dona Berengaria Nunes de Chacim. Dona Branca Nunes de Chacim. Dom Martin Nunes de Chacim. Dom Fruil Nunes de Chacim. Children with Dona Maria Gomes de Briteiros, my 24th grandmother, twice my grandmother. Dom Rui Nunes de Chacim, married to Dona Oldonca Mendes Tavaya, my 27th grandparents, twice my grandparents.